Okay, so we're back with another Why Did Player X Become a Bust? And this one hits very close to home as a Buccaneers fan. Vernon Hargraves, who everyone was convinced was going to be a star player, gets drafted in the top 10 and, well, was one of the worst corners I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know how a lot of people are wondering, how does this happen? How does someone go from such a dominant college prospect to a complete and utter bust? Again, think about illogically, he was thought of as a J.C. Horn, as a Patrick Surtain, and he ends up being just, I mean, he's still in the league, but barely hanging on by a thread. So what went wrong and what did we miss then? Because we did miss something. That is what happened. It's not that, oh, he happened to get worse in the NFL. People like to use that as an excuse, but it very rarely is actually the case that it's, we made the right read saying that he was going to be good and he just happened to change. Usually it's we screwed something up. Well, what did we screw up? Well, first, let's talk about what people were high on. So I'm going to go to walterfootball.com because that's a great website with a huge database of player profiles and just talk about what they saw in him. And for his strengths, it is a laundry list of a ton of popular good things that you would want in the corner. He's a smooth cover corner, excellent at running the route to prevent separation. He can play off man, he can play zone, he can play press man. He has great feet, great ball skills, good hands. He can, good instincts. He's a smart player, doesn't take penalties, good run defender, makes the play. Also contributes on special teams, high character, good teammate, and good instincts. I mean, that's a lot to like in a corner. I mean, you basically just said about everything, right? His weaknesses are he doesn't always play up to size. He is a little bit shorter, so that makes sense. Gets beat on more 50-50 balls than he should. Can give up separation deep to fast receivers. And, seemed to be protecting himself late in 2015. I don't really care about that one. So I'm sure plenty of people are saying, wow, Walter Football, they screwed that one up, right? Horrible evaluation. I'm not sure. I mean, I went back and watched the tape, and I see it. I think I agree with everything they said. I don't disagree whatsoever. Like, watch the film. So, like, right here, you see Hargraves he's currently on the bottom of the screen. He's going to go deep, but he's eventually going to come back into this play. It's confusing. It's going to be a run to the bottom of the screen, and what's going to end up happening is you're going to have, another player's coming in. He's going to get blocked by the receiver. Eventually, Hargraves will be the closest unblocked man. Like, watch, right when this play starts, I mean, you notice that. So, gets to the outside. Hargraves is coming in. And watch how well he's going to make this tackle. I mean, he was a physical tackling corner. Watch him come in and make this play. Sure, he was only 5'10", 204 pounds, but he played bigger. He would make a tackle. He could definitely stop you in your tracks for sure. You can look at something like this, where it's going to be a one-on-one matchup towards the side of the end zone. He's going up, and this is going to be it's a total one-on-one matchup. This is just who is better. And watch how Hargraves, doesn't get beat. He stays with him and then is able to have the ball skills to knock it away. So again, he maybe is a little bit smaller, but he had the ball skills there to make it work. Even something like this, where what's going to happen is that it's going to be zone coverage, and you see a little route over the middle. Honestly, don't worry too much about what's actually going on because it's going to be an overthrow. But as you see right when this play starts, so I'm going to circle right around there. That's Vernon Hargraves, and this is an overthrow. But Hargraves is going to read this play incredibly well. When they said he has good instincts, he absolutely does. And we even saw this in the NFL at times. You saw a couple flashes of things like this. Watch him step in, and he's going to get the interception right here, which is, again, that's just an incredible play. So then what did we miss? I mean, is his footwork bad? No, his footwork's pretty good. It could be a little better. He got beat a couple times with footwork, but his footwork's pretty good. So what's his issue? What did we miss? Well, it makes me think of something that you hear people say all the time. You can't fall in love with numbers you get at the combine. You have to watch the tape. And that there is some truth to that. But the one exception is 40 time with a corner. And people keep getting on me because I go crazy over 40 time with a corner. But Vernon Hargraves ran a 4.5. And that is the main reason why he is not a successful corner. Being a slow corner, it's just so difficult to make things work. You have to have speed at the cornerback position or you will get burned deep. Tampa Bay fans will tell you that it was incredibly frustrating seeing Vernon Hargraves line up 8 yards off, 10 yards off every single play. But the reality is, if he was playing press, he was going to get burned deep because he doesn't have the speed to keep up with NFL receivers who all run 4.4 or some 4.3. You have to, if you're slower, you're going to be in trouble. And there were a little bit of signs of that even in college. Like, watch right here. This is a perfect example, even though it might not feel like a perfect example. It's going to be zone coverage. And you see that Hargraves, you see the zone he's supposed to cover, the flat towards the bottom of the screen. And so it's not really his fault if this route gets open. He kind of should pass this player off to the safety. But like as you see, right when this play starts, you're going to notice that the safety doesn't really do an incredible job of picking this up. So now at this point, there's a receiver past both of them. Hargraves just trying to get into the play. So the reason why I'm still bringing this play up, though, even though this part isn't his fault, is that in the NFL, this kind of situation, it's just going to happen. It just happens to everybody that you end up in a situation where you're a little bit out of position and you have to come back. And Hargraves could not come back from this stuff. I mean, even in one of the few weaknesses he had in Walter football, one of those was he can get beat with speed downfield. Well, that's actually a huge weakness. And watch how he just, ends up losing some ground. The ball was underthrown, but he still wasn't able to actually come back and make a play. And that was on an underthrown ball. It would have been an easy touchdown had it been a perfect throw. So again, that play wasn't his fault, but it's kind of showing some of the breadcrumbs to finding the actual player that he would end up being in the NFL. And like, watch a play like this. This is now him in the NFL. And this is exactly what I'm talking about with speed. It's not always getting burned deep. Half the time, it's just you have to be a little bit more cautious of getting burned deep because you're slower, which then means that other stuff gets opened up. On this play, he's going up against Mohamed Sanu, and it's going to be a route over the middle. But watch what happens. So right when this play starts, you notice how Hargraves is a lot further deep right now than Sanu. Again, he played very far off to start this play. He was about 7 yards off just to start, and he still is giving about a 3-yard cushion to Mohamed Sanu. Again, just to be clear, he's concerned about getting beat deep by the guy who ran a 4.62 40-yard dash at his combine in Mohamed Sanu. That's how fearful he is of getting burned deep. And now when it's going to be a cut over the middle, my issue with Hargraves isn't that he can't cut well enough to make it work. Like, watch, he cuts fine, but he was too far away, and he doesn't have the closing speed to get in position. It's just an easy completion right there. And quite frankly, Hargraves gave up a ton of easy completions over the years simply because he was too afraid to get burned deep. But when he wasn't afraid to get burned deep, he would get burned deep. So that's the main thing I think you can learn from evaluating a corner. I'm not saying that you should never draft a slower corner. I'm just saying if you do, it should scare the hell out of you, because some of the best prospects we've seen that happen to not run a very quick 40 time have sucked. That's the reality of the situation. Hargraves wasn't a bad prospect. Hargraves was a great prospect, but he was slower. And that's why he's barely in the NFL at this point, which is crazy to think, but it's true. And maybe you could sit here and watch his college tape and say, yeah, he'll probably be a good zone corner because, at least he can break in, can kind of naturally play off a little bit. But clearly, that's not the case either. Hargraves has played zone and hasn't played well in it. So a lot of people kind of want to look at the other stuff. But if you can't run a fast 40 time, there is no better indicator in the NFL of who's going to be successful and who isn't than looking at a cornerback's 40 time before they enter the league. That's legitimately the best indicator. It's a better indicator looking at corners 40 time than looking at when they got drafted. It's that drastic. So again, it's super important. You can't undervalue 40 or you can't overvalue 40 time. You can only undervalue it because it's that important, I think. And so, yeah, that's really, I think, the sad story of Vernon Hargraves and sort of why the hype was wrong, I guess. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.